1-0. 1-0. That's all that matters. There's a lot to talk about. It's our instant overreaction. We did it all last year. We're going to do it again this year. I'm not going to tell you the take's going to be all logical or rational. That's not really what I do in everyday life. It's definitely not going to be what I do after certain games. But got a good episode for you. Fired up. Drop any questions, comments, anything like that in the comments section, and we'll have a good time with it. So, instant takeaways. So, South Carolina starts off the season 1-0. I like not pretty at times. And there were some things that they could have easily done better, but you get away with a 24-11 win against a Power 4 program. I tell you what, maybe I didn't do a good job of this beforehand, where talking about like the emotions that had to go into this game with Beamer. I thought it was kind of a tired storyline, but there had to be some emotions involved, obviously, with his history and his dad's history and all that kind of stuff. Maybe some of that played into it. Right. Again, like this is all going to be streaming flow of consciousness. I'm going to bring up your comments in here. It's a win, right? It's a good win. And I think that we'll start with the positives before we start anywhere else. And the positives are this, man. Like you went in a big marquee game, the eyes of the nation on you. I thought you got robbed on a touchdown call. Cost me some money on a parlay I had. If we're being honest, that was very frustrating. I thought you had ups and downs. The opening drive was awesome. Opening drive, knife through hot butter, right down the field. It capped off with LaNorris Sellers running over someone's ass in the end zone. I love that. I loved it. 3 for 3, 54 yards to the air, 15-yard touchdown to cap it off. How did they open the drive? We talked about this over and over and over again last year, especially, and I wondered if that's what they were going to do this year. The extension of the run game with the tight ends, if they're going to get people out in space, little dump passes like that. First play of the game, Beamer was fired up on that. By the way, first play of the game on the. Why is there a C4 on this thing? Anyway, so that all was good. There's some other struggles. There were some other struggles and there were other concerns, but what they did well, I do want to start there. I thought that was huge. I thought it was a great way to start the drive. Obviously, it set the tone. The offense sputtered after that. I think part of it is that Virginia Tech is a better defense than we might have given them credit for going into the game. I thought that they made really good adjustments, and I thought that they played well. And I tell you, by the way, tip of the cap to every single receiver on that roster. My God, like there wasn't a lot of blown coverages. If like there was some underneath routes, and they did a couple of play designs where you're taking people out. Wasn't a pick play, but it wasn't like not a pick play on a couple things where you're just like kind of like vacating a spot so somebody can get there, and whether it be across the field on a drag or if it's like something going up the sideline, like they did a good job schematically, so X's and O's stuff against the defense. And you saw pressure early on. You didn't see him get home a bunch, right? That part was frustrating. But hats off to Virginia Tech's defense. They did a really good job coaching, I thought. Like this was one of the more disjointed and frustrating first halves I've seen of a football game in a while. It was not a lot of juice after the first drive. It's like you came out in the first drive, you score, right? You get a stop, you get the ball, and you get a first on a play that LaNorris is able to extend down the right sideline. Then you come back and you get he rolls out to his right to evade pressure, hits a guy. I think he hit Murph right in the hands. Drop pass. Then you hit Harbor on a crossing route. Next play dropped, and then I think you end up being 4 yards short of the first down. So it's like that kind of stuff. After that, you didn't see a lot of great stuff from the offense. It looked like it sputtered. Here's the other news though. Like I feel confident in what the offense can be with all the talent. There's some stuff to work on for sure. It seems like they kind of abandoned some of the stuff that worked early on. Then especially the tight ends, and then went back to it later in the second half. Thank God. But there's some things that LaNorris could be sharper on. He had a couple of moments where he held on to the ball for too long. The safety was really bad. The play where there's pressure coming right in his face, coming right to his face. And he just never saw it. The guy who beat Thompson, and it was like on a combo block that neither one of them seemed to combine on. That was frustrating as well. I think we were just getting to the frustrating stuff. But here's the big thing. What did we think was going to be the biggest struggle for this team? The front seven and the linebackers and replacing everything you lost to the NFL draft. and the offensive line, which we'll get to, which was a problem. But the front seven, the linebackers are great. The linebackers, Fred Johnson, J.R. Johnson, he is a star. Like, that kid is a star. He was awesome to watch. I told you guys this when he committed. And I had a little bit of the not inside information, but I felt really excited about it and a little bit privy to it just because I had seen him while covering other teams. The Justin Orenronkro, that kid was a kid out of Germany that everyone described he was a 3-star recruit. And I remember hearing people on the staff at Alabama tell me directly, if he played in America, he'd be a 5-star. That kid looks like he's shot out of a cannon. We all thought Sean Murphy might be the guy in the middle, especially with his veteran leadership and playing in year 4. Man, Johnson was awesome. Orenronkro was awesome. I love it all. Let's get into a couple of the comments. Let's see. Dylan Stewart took over in the 4th, huh? Man. I mean, Dylan Stewart took over, not just the pass rush, like stopping the run, reading what the quarterback was going to do. It was great. It was great. Yeah, Johnson was amazing, man. Johnson, that was awesome. That was awesome. Still got the job done. Corners got busted up. They got hurt. They got hurt, which sucked. I thought, I'm going to pronounce this kid's name wrong. Kid from NC State. Cisse. I was training myself during the broadcast to make sure I said it wrong, and now I'm ahead of myself because I've had too much Celsius, and I'm all not banged up, all fired up. I thought DBs looked good at times. Again, there were some catches that Vatek made where it's like, man, I wish you could somehow combine what our receivers had done and theirs did, because they made a lot of contested catches. And by the way, hats off to the quarterback, because there were some times where he was erratic, but he dropped the ball in a bucket more than once, and that was really good. Oscar Attaway is not the answer. I think you still have some competition there, though. I owe whoever it was that said in something in the comments that he was getting at me for not talking about Oscar Attaway enough before the season, and he said bring back the former host. I owe you an apology, man. I thought Attaway was great. He wasn't great, but the O-line's not great, guys. The O-line still has a lot of problems. Attaway was I wondered about this going into it. Attaway, where even with Faison being eligible, were they going to put Attaway in because he's earned it more? He's a senior, he's been on the team for longer, and I thought he ran hard. There was at one point in the first half, though, you're looking at it, and Sellers has the touchdown run, right? And we were wondering how much of the offense is going to be predicated off the run game for in general. And then how much of that was going to be predicated off him running the football, Sellers running the football versus your running backs. Well, first touchdown's a 15-yard run from Sellers. He didn't have to be, but he put his Superman cape on multiple times in this game, and he just does stuff that no one else in the country can do. And it's thank God that kid is wearing a South Carolina jersey, because that part's awesome. But the other part is when you look at the running back situation. At one point, I know it was they had 8 carries for 9 yards. I'm not going to put that all on the running backs, because the offensive line, as you guys are saying in the comments, it's not great. It's not great. Faison does need more carries, though. 7 for 40 going up against that front and what they were doing to all the other backs. It seemed like. I agree. Now, I also will say this: you kind of saw this. It was almost like a metaphor for how the game went, right? Watching Cisse, thank you. Bronson Gambrel, DM me on Twitter. You're going to win some sort of prize. And I appreciate that. We're off to a hot start. DB wasn't bad, just ridiculous catches. I agree with that. Offensive line will improve. They have to, man. It's just it's so frustrating to watch. Now, listen, here's the thing too. Virginia Tech did have some dudes, right? They had one of the edge rushers they had. I think he had double-digit sacks a year ago before either at Vatek or maybe he was a portal guy. They weren't barren of talent, right? They had some talented guys. I thought they were pretty well coached. I like what they had to do. I'll tell you something. Now the ADD is kicking in that was frustrating. The motion that their offense ran almost the entire game, where they bring the tight end, he's basically set up in an H-back situation off the line, just kind of behind the tackle, bring him in motion, and then having him get a head start as basically a lead blocker. I did not care for that at all. It seemed like that was I haven't seen offenses do that much. I've seen them bring people in motion. I've seen people be brought in as an extra blocker. Having somebody come in and get like a running start to, it seemed like on almost every play, he was taking a step towards the line. That was frustrating. The Harvard TD catch was, we can't cuss on the show. That was horse blank, and everyone knows it. Here's the, somebody brought this up online. Maybe I'm an idiot, and I don't think a lot of you would disagree with that. We've listened to me yap for long enough. It's, that those signs are there. But like the idea, when you have a quarterback or a running back that's running the football and he reaches over the goal line, the moment the nose of that football touches the goal line, that is a touchdown, right? That's a touchdown. So if a running back extends over the line and the ball touches the white line of the end zone, that is a touchdown. So if somebody knocks it out afterwards, it goes to the back of the end zone, it doesn't matter because they broke the plane. Watching this definition of a catch now is the new targeting. I said it on Twitter during the game. It's the new targeting, because what it looks like now is like, well, no one knows no one seems to know the answer on what a catch is, right? The other part is like you're talking about. He caught it, puts the ball in his right hand. It looked a little bit awkward, but he had firm control of it. Step out of bounds to the ground. Ball didn't survive the ground. I'm fully aware of how the rule is written. So before anybody starts yelling in the comments or at me on Twitter like I already have, I'm fully aware of what the rule is written like. I'm telling you, it's a stupid rule. Like, it's the same thing in the LSU game last night. The LSU Clemson game. Everyone saw it. Berrien Brown goes to the corner of the end zone. Ball dropped in a bucket. Catches it. 1-2 steps. Knee hits the pylon. It's weird to me, and it happens so often. How many times have you been watching a college football game, specifically, and they're in the booth talking about the game, the score, or the play, and they're showing the replay, and they're looking at it over and over, and they're saying, "Yep, that looks like a catch." And then they bring in the rules expert. Yep, that looks like a catch. Everyone's in agreement. Go back to the field. The ref. Nope. Incomplete catch or incomplete pass. It's like, what are we talking about? Okay, where do you guys want to go to next? Yeah, 3 feet down, 2 inbounds. It was unbelievable. Ryan Hoover says, again, hey guys, keep putting the comments in the comment section. I will get to them all, I promise. Ryan Hoover says, we have new starters on the O-line, and it's first game of the season. They'll get better as we go. No need to panic yet. I don't disagree. I still wanted to see more. Cam Johnson says totality of the play. It's worse than targeting is also another one. He had control with his hand. Just hold on to the ball. Sure, yeah. I will tell you this, though, Sean Glenn. You're not wrong. You're not wrong with what you're saying. I will tell you right now, as a 39-year-old man that gets backaches whenever I sneeze now, it's just pathetic. There's like 7 times a game I watch a college football game and I go, I would fumble every single time I touch the ball. There's just no chance. Stupid rule, I agree. No, it's not. That was 3rd and 6. It'll be incomplete. Just stop. I don't know what that means. If that was 3rd and 6, it would still be incomplete. Just stop. I disagree. I disagree completely. And I tell you what, most of America did too. It's the 50. Love it. LSU versus Clemson. Too bad somebody had to win. Also very true. Let's see. OL is blank. I don't understand it. I just, I knew that they would struggle a little bit. And I do think it's one of those things. This is out of all the things on the team, on any team that take the longest to gel, it's the O-line. It always is, right? Like we talked about in the offseason, like trying to find not just like the best 5 guys, but the right 5 guys. I was a little bit surprised when seeing, who all trotted out there. That's all I'm going to say. I just was a little bit surprised at that. And again, I think Josiah Thompson he is being baptized by fire, and I would assume he is going to continue to get better. And I'm going to assume that this offensive line is going to continue to get better. And I just don't think this is the finished product. But it was a concern today. It was better in pass pro. Getting a push in the run game, that was so frustrating. The good news is, like, big picture on this, and I'm not trying to negate that it is a problem, but what the good news is, you're also talking about, like, if you were desperate because you had, I don't know, Ryan Helinski back there at quarterback, and it's 3rd and 2, like you're going to have to hand the ball to a running back to get a first down, most likely, right? Like the good news is one of the biggest deficiencies right now is getting a push in the run game from the offensive line. You just so happen to have the best athlete in the country at quarterback. If he leans forward, it's usually a 3 or 4 yard gain. So that part is something that I think switching to Marquis in the second half made a difference. I agree with that. And again, the pass pro was better. There's times that LaNorris, he was at fault, needs to get better with certain things. There was a couple of times where I felt he was a little bit indecisive on when he could have probably ran and didn't, because I think they're trying to teach that whole thing out of him, so he doesn't just resort to that all the time. So that part was that part was a almost half 100. Sean, what the hell, dude? Yeah. So, but again, let's get back to some of the positive stuff. I thought the defense was great, and we can't talk about the. Thanks, Cam. I thought Mazio would be more involved offensively. Let's just keep having the stream of consciousness. Let's look at the receiving here, and I'm just reading you the box score. Mo Brown, first catch of the game, first play of the game for Mo Brown, 14 yards. Watching Beamer, if you were there or if you were watching it on TV, Beamer running up to the sideline and just two hands, like popping him in the chest, that fired me up, man. They were Jesus. Chat's gone unhinged, guys. It was good to see. It was good to see. This, are we ranked higher for this week? Yeah, 1,000%. 1,000%. That long ball to Harmer got me pumped. I did too. So here's the other thing too, from a positive standpoint, there were some things that I was frustrated with that were like, okay, like there were, I'm not trying to be a sunshine pumper, as I know some people think I can be, right? There are things though that happened in this game that showed me legitimate growth from last season, especially from Shane Beamer. Let me explain what I'm talking about. First half, the announcers say 4th and 1. It's 4th and 4, clearly. And he puts the offense back out there, and you're like, no. You have a 7-point lead. There's no reason to do this. Punt the ball. Please don't do what you did at Ole Miss last year. There's no reason to do this on your own side of the field. And they didn't. They didn't, right? They punt the ball away. I was happy about that. This is a game, like Shane Beamer coaches with a lot of emotion in general. This is a game that obviously carried a lot more than emotion than we probably thought. But we got to the halftime. We got at halftime, and it was 10-8. It was like a Little League baseball score, or like your nephew's Upward Basketball League score. Like, it was brutal. 10-8, very disjointed, very frustrating. Like reviews, injuries kept happening, and it was like, oh my God, just get to halftime. And it's 10-8. They get the ball first. You get a stop, but you're still just seeing this offense that looks a little bit sluggish. And like, I know there's already frustration with Mike Shula. The message boards were already pissed. They want him fired, like all that kind of stuff. I get it. Judge is not. I don't think Judge is okay. I think he's going to miss some time. I don't know how much time. I don't. I'm sure we'll find out more afterwards. But them saying it was a knee sprain, saying they were going to reevaluate the half because it happened in the first half, and then seeing his pads come off immediately, and then he's on crutches. Like, all those signs tell me that was bad. I don't know how serious it is. And I'm hoping it wasn't anything more than a knee sprain or something like that. But, there was a couple of injuries. There was a couple of injuries in key moments. Nick Barrett went down at one point. Like every single defensive end, it seemed like you had at some point got injured. And they were able to come back, but that was a physical game up front. Some of the edge rushers were being held like newborn babies for a lot of that game. And that was frustrating. I think Dylan's shoulder is fine. I'm assuming that was just a stinger, just the way he was coming in. I don't think, because he's tried to extend to the quarterback. The way it happened, it felt like it was probably like, it's clearly not a separated shoulder, something that's that severe. It looked like it was probably just a stinger, just the way it was kind of pulled and hit. Oh boy. So I think they'll be fine. I don't know about Judge. We'll probably have to update that tomorrow. But it was a physical game. And again, back to the positives here. You talk about what South Carolina has done in the past, and it's been like guys, remember Old Dominion was just a year ago, and it's like, oh my God, skin of your teeth. Like I was getting ready for the show and putting together like the, little not backdrop at this thing. We also did get a backdrop. But some of that's the second 33 run with Faison. My God. There were some things that you were like, this is like an ugly win, hopefully, but but you're still a little bit nervous of how it could go. But something that great teams do and good teams do is one, find ways to win. But guys, like they not only found a way to win. This wasn't Old Dominion. They found a way to win and pulled away. And they did it in every phase of the game. The defense, what everyone thought the defense was going to be the liability from a national standpoint, right? How do they replace all that talent? Well, maybe Virginia Tech has the worst offensive line in the country. I doubt that they do. But you look at what that defense was able to do. They weren't getting gashed at any point of the game. They gave up 37 carries for 115 yards. They gave up 3.1 yards per carry. They held Kyron Drones to 15 of 35. If anybody, listen, I know we joke around about the math, me trying to do the math off the top of my head. I'll tell you right now what 15 of 35 is. It's 42.9%. Check the math. 2 interceptions. We talked about that in the pregame. I think Sean Glenn makes another good point. Stunk it up for 2 quarters. I don't disagree with that. But it felt also more like, hey man, what are we doing? What are we doing? We're kind of getting our own way. Why aren't we kind of going with some of the play calls that worked in the first half? And then you saw them get back to that. Then you also it felt tight. It felt like they were playing with a lot more nerves than I anticipated. And the moment Vakari Swain returns a punt for 80 yards and weaves in and out of traffic and all that kind of stuff, the moment that happened, it felt like everything floated away. It felt like it was like leashes off. Let's go get after their ass and let's pull away and start playing with. They were flying around the ball like everyone was. Like they were flying around all over the field. Felt like they were playing with a lot more confidence. Then you started seeing some of the stuff with LaNorris Sellers. When Sellers started to get going and their hands were on their hips and they got tired, some of their mental mistakes started happening. When those things started happening, then it was like, that's when they pulled away. And then you start seeing okay, they keep running into the belly of this defense or the teeth of the defense. They're not having a ton of success doing it. What do you know? Play action. Oh my God, they're going to throw it deep. Nick Harbor, wide ass open, right? Who would have guessed this, guys? The fastest player on the field, the quarterback, that guy can't complete long passes. He's not a good thrower. LaNorris Sellers, he's a good athlete, not a good passer, right? He's just not a good passer. Hits him in stride. Ball game, nail in the coffin. You played a C+ game at best for over half the game. You won by 13. Am I wrong? Yes, the call to re-kick, that was clutch. Don't take away the safety. The D gave up 8. That's a good point, David Mazzell. Take away the safety. The D gave up 8. Yeah, that's true. It became alive like Chucky. Sean, you're a fantastic addition to this. This is great. Offensive play calling needs work. I don't disagree with that. When we got to the fourth quarter, I felt we were going to win. Beamer has conditioned me to believe in the end. That's another thing too, guys. That has been something that I was nervous for a minute because it's okay, it felt like you were kind of dominating. Then there was other things that were like, oh my God, just maybe I'm just a prisoner of the moment from the first touchdown. Cause that first drive, Sellers had 69 total yards because I'm a child and I have to bring that up. 3 for 3, 54 yards to the air, 15-yard run. And then it was, I think he had 2 yards rushing. He was one of his next 4. I think he was 4 of his next 10. It wasn't great. They showed a stat on the screen in the second half at one point before they broke it open. They had 10 plays for 44 yards. It just wasn't great. Yeah, that's fine. That's true. To be fair, South Carolina's favored by 7. They won by 13. Faison's 32-yard game. That was sick. That was big. And again, I got to send Gordy the link. Gordy's coming in. I haven't even been drinking during this game. I wanted to be fresh and ready to go. Let's see. Virginia Tech was held out of the end zone. Yes. And again, guys, here's the thing too. That whole thing with the defense, that should not be overlooked because that was the biggest question mark. That was the biggest question mark. I don't remember what Virginia Tech's team total was, but I know it wasn't 11.5, right? Yeah, I love that too. Let's see here. Defense on a long touchdown is huge. Want to know Cam Johnson's still here. I can't tell you how much I loved hearing the announcer say Stewart was held. Yes, thank God, dude. Good call, Sam Dunham. Creeping me out with that picture, but I love that. Yes, and he was. It happened the entire first half. But again, I am so all in on this linebacking core. I told you they were going to be good. Johnson, there was a play where Drones was running, and he's coming to, like, if you're watching on TV, he's coming to the near side of the field towards us, and it's just him and Johnson, and it almost felt like Johnson like had a second to be like, okay, and then just lowered his shoulder, and like he's one of those dudes. It's not like, hey, I'm going to spear you, I'm going to knock the blank out of you. He will. But it almost reminds me a little bit. I'm not comparing him to this because this is like a former All-American Butkus Award winner that we just haven't seen enough of Johnson that. But you ever watch Roquan Smith? Like the moment that kid put his hands on a runner or a receiver is the moment they went down. And that's what it looked like. All right, we're going to add Chris Gordy to the stage. Chris Gordy from Locked On SEC. If you have any questions for Gordy, let him know in the comments. Gordy, you watched the game. What were your initial reactions to it?
Yeah, roller coaster of a game. I mean, the opening drive, they go right down the field. Sellers with the run. I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be cakewalk. This is going to be easy. Then the offense kind of stalls out for an extended stretch. I thought the defense did overall a pretty good job. There were some frustrating, third downs and things like that, but I think that was just Virginia Tech. I chalk a lot of the sloppiness up, Marler, to first game jitters. This was just, and we saw it from teams all weekend. I'd almost check myself today because I was making these mental notes. I'm like, God, they look sloppy. And then I was like, wait a minute. Half the league looked sloppy yesterday. Like, let's not put them on an island because they're the lone day game today. They're the only game happening before the night game tonight. So that's where I kind of needed to check myself. I thought maybe we'd see a little bit more Faison of the run game, but Attaway was seemed like Attaway was having some nice runs, and Faison did end up having the 30-yarder. But I thought Virginia Tech did a pretty good job of bottling Sellers up too. What was his longest run? The 16-yarder. I thought he would have had some more chunk plays, but outside of that, I mean, Nick Harbor with the big touchdown that comes late. Better late than never. They get that. And that's the separation. You need, and of course the big return from Swain I thought was super exciting with the interceptions. Yeah. Look, again, it's not a complete product, but that's a nice week 1 win, and you got some big SEC games coming up. I think overall you take it and you move on.
There's a stat I bring up a bunch, and I bring it up specifically with Beamer because that's one of the things to talk about in the offseason. You guys have heard me bring this up 1,000 times. And so somebody could probably tell me the number in the chat because I've forgotten it. But the last 4 years, Clayton White, this defense has led the SEC in turnovers and forced turnovers with 88 total. And you get 2 in this game, you have 0. That to me is because that's what we saw in the first half of last season. Whether it was how many times, there's at least 2 or 3 times where Sellers got hit today that I was like, oh my God. And the ball popped out once. But you had no turnovers, you had no interceptions, didn't really see any passes that were really questionable to be picked off, even from Sellers. Now, again, there's a couple things that he still needs to do to get better, but that part to me was big. And when you talk about winning the turnover battle, when they win the turnover battle, there's not a gray area here. They win 78% of their games when they win the turnover battle. And the most important thing to me, when this team takes the field usually on defense, especially with all the question marks they had, is winning that. But also seeing a 0 next to South Carolina's, that's huge. That's huge. I mean, I looked at that. I thought that was really good. Sellers, into the game, averaging over 11 yards per pass or per attempt, excuse me. And again, the question marks I thought that you had on this team, dude, special teams. You had special teams questions going into it, and you were able to still be fine there. You were able to kick a field goal at least, and which doesn't seem like a huge deal. It wasn't like it was some bomb from 50 yards, but you have all new special teams players from every single position, including the long snapper. So thought that was good. The other thing too, Gordy, I saw this last year in the Alabama game, and this seems to be something that Beamer has turned the corner on and his staff has, which is when you are going into half, whether you're up or down, they had a sloppy first half, 7 penalties for 46 yards. You end the game with 8 total penalties, right? Like that's a halftime adjustment you're able to see and feel good about. Like you only gave up 8 points in the first half, you gave up 3 in the second. Like you were able to outscore them by 11 in the fourth quarter. I think what are the things you think they need to work on most going into next week and moving forward, but like also the things that maybe you were surprised that they didn't see coming?
Yeah, you make a good point with the penalties. I didn't realize that they were all mostly in the first half. But anytime you look down and see that you have that many penalties compared to your opponent, never a good thing. But to me, the big thing is third downs. Yeah, is your shirt inside out?
Dude, oh my God, it is. Oh yeah, here we go. It's week 1 for everybody, baby.
Third downs. I mean, they were 4 of 12. I want to see a little bit more easier conversions there that can keep drives going, keep drives alive. Whether that's using Brady Hunt, I don't know. However you want to do it, some crossers and just some easier plays to put you in some more doable down and distances just can keep those drives alive. Because like I said, that first drive, it was just so fluid and seamless, and just felt like, oh, this is going to be a long day for Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
And then they're kind of hanging around. Safety, I'm not so upset about. I mean, look, we knew there was going to be an adjustment with this offensive line. I thought last year was, the best O-line they've had in recent years. When Rattler was getting killed left and right, I thought last year overall they did a good job. And then, you think Sellers with his legs, even when the pocket breaks down, can he at least roll out and buy some time? So, but overall, yeah. I mean, again, the big thing is you just want to win. I mean, look, this was one of those games when I was asking people last week, I had a few people tell me they wouldn't be surprised if Bama's in a game with Florida State, and that one, we saw that one went. And then I had people tell me, don't be surprised if Virginia Tech keeps this close with South Carolina. And so to get the 2 touchdowns late to pull away again, it wasn't beautiful, but there's going to be plenty of weeks to clean this thing up. Think about where we were a year ago at this time. I mean, the old division game. I mean, it was ugly. So, this
my
is
first game covering this team, right? And my dumbass goes to a home housewarming party for one of Allie's best friends. And I'm like, yeah. You know what? We can. Usually, I don't want to leave the house on Saturdays, but like Carolina's got Old Dominion, it'll be fine. And then I am just like pacing in their upstairs room while everyone's outside having like a barbecue because I'm losing my mind over this game. I'm glad you didn't have to see that. Let me get you out of here on this. And a quick question before I also want to get back to this real quick though, because we talk about the special teams. Again, I know it's only a 27-yard field goal, but Beamer brought this up multiple times. Like he brought it up at media days, I think unprompted, and he brought it up again the other day. You replaced everybody. And it's not like you just replaced, like, oh yeah, you had to replace your kicker Herrera, like okay, but like you had to replace Kai Kroger, who's one of the best punters you've had. I mean, he's one of the best punters in the country last year. The reason why he just got picked up by the Saints, like you had to replace him, long snapper, holder, like every single returner, all of those things you had to replace. And in game 1, you get a punt return for a touchdown. You're 1 for 1 on field goals, 3 for 3 on extra points. And how about your damn punter going 47.8 yards per punt with 3 inside the 20? Like again, the offense looked bad at times, but there were so many things they did in the little parts of the game, as our friends at Locked On Baylor said, when you talk about like football guy terms and the special team stuff, like that's like, I think that stuff should not go like unnoticed or overlooked.
Yeah, if you're look, any team that's coached by a Beamer, it better have good special teams. So wasn't surprised by that. I mean, you hope it's something you can build on with the punter and the kicker, and again, the return game is also outstanding as well. So that's an area that could have been an area of concern that you come out of game 1 saying, all right, mission accomplished there. So. I think, the way the schedule sets up, you get South Carolina State, you're going to be at home, you're going to beat the snot out of them, look for some continuity and maybe an opportunity to work in some of the backup alignment and see, okay, can we get a different look here? Somebody else push for playing time here. If I'm Beamer, I go to practice this week going, hey, this thing's wide open. You guys were the starters for week 1, but if somebody else wants to push for one of these starting O-line jobs, then more power to them. So that's what I would do, and then just continue to work in the continuity with Sellers and the receivers. Because again, I would have liked an extra. Yeah, I mean, Nick Harbor was a stud from the minute he stepped on campus. We knew he was a big time recruit and just had to come into his own in whatever role it was, tight end, wide receiver, whatever. But I would have liked to have seen them get another big time receiver out of the portal. They didn't, but we'll see. We'll see as the season goes along. As maybe somebody else emerges, one of the young freshmen or something like that. But
I don't. Yeah, well, I'll get into that after we get you out of here. But last question I'm going to ask you, because it's being a pretty big question in the comments here, which is, do you think this is with everyone that lost? Do you think that this is a team that's ranked in the top 10 when the rankings come out on Tuesday?
What were they ranked today?
13.
13? Yeah, I think so. Because you're going to drop Bama back. Why are you laughing?
I mean, they should be out of the top 25. Like, they're so bad. Like,
I'm just talking
it
out. I'm talking it out of who was ranked.
No, I know. I'm just laughing because it's like every time I hear it, I'm like, it's not even because of Florida State. It's just they looked so bad. So it's like, it's hard not to laugh at it.
But if Saban was still the coach, they'd be 7th. Like they
they'd move up. Yeah, a lot of growth there. Did you see late in the game? It rained, brother. It rained. You can't take a team to Florida and have it rain.
I don't think because of Texas, who Texas lost to, I don't think they'll knock them behind South Carolina. I think they'll stay ahead of them. But yeah, look, this should be a top 10 team. We'll see how the rankings come out, but this should be a top 10 team. And again, I love how the schedule sets up, because you take care of business. You get to come home for the feel good home opener next weekend, and then home for Vandy. I like that, as opposed to LSU last year. I mean, that was just such it was so tough. You're just like, you're thrust into the SEC schedule so quickly, but kind of ease your foot in with Vandy and Diego Pavia, and they go on the road to play Mizzou, who looked good, but they played Central Arkansas. Bo Prabula looked pretty good, but and then you get Kentucky at home. I just like how that schedule sets up before you have to go to LSU at the beginning of October.
Yeah. All right, Gordy, we'll do this again maybe next week. Either way, I'll join you on your show. Make sure you guys are keeping up with Gordy. He's doing 1,000 different things. We just started doing a Saturday reaction. It's on Sunday morning, but live at noon Eastern time. Is it Eastern time?
At noon Central on Sunday. Yeah, you got the day and the time wrong.
Yeah, nailed it. All right, you guys
on planet Earth. We'll get you there.
Gordy, you go ahead and plug your own stuff. I've already made a fool of myself.
Yeah, Locked On SEC, wherever you get your podcasts. We're talking all 16 teams. We actually, tomorrow on the show, we'll be doing what we call our winners and losers of the weekend. I'll give you a little hint. Might be a special teams guy on our winners list from the weekend for South Carolina. But I'll just tell you this. Of all the defenses we saw this week, look, it's hard to judge Georgia, right? Because they played Marshall. They looked awesome. But, like, of the defenses that were tested, I thought LSU. I thought Texas still – the defense played awesome, all things considered, at Ohio State. And I think South Carolina. I'm putting those three defenses as three of the most impressive defenses we saw in week one.
Yeah. All right, brother. We'll talk to you soon. We'll get you out of here.
All right. See ya.
I'll change my shirt. All right. That was Gordy. Gordy's the best, man. Y'all definitely go check out his show. He does a great job. We do several things. I forgot about Funny Man. Is he still doing those? Okay. Let's close out the show with this and just some more positive things, or some things they got to work on for next week. You guys tell me any of your predictions, all kind of stuff. I do want to talk on the top 10 thing real quick in my perspective, because I think Gordy has a good point. I think I can see both sides of it. The comment that we'll be at 11 because we're South Carolina and they don't move us up that much. I hate it. I hate that, but I don't think it's crazy to think that that's what will end up happening, because it's just the track record, right? There's no reason they should move ahead of Texas. There was also no reason Texas should have been number one. They just putting them, we talked about on the show, putting them ahead of Ohio State, who beat them last year before winning the national title, and then also putting Ohio State behind Penn State, and they beat them 12 out of the last 13 times. Like, that's just insane to me. But will they be ahead of Clemson is the thing I'm keyed in on, because I think Clemson was 6th in the polls, and I don't think that they will drop them. But, guys, it was a home loss. And here's the thing that I hope people start talking about with this, okay? Here's the thing that I hope that they talk about this with the Clemson loss. because it's a great feeling. Well, Clemson was 6-1. They were 4 in the other, by the way. So I think Bama was 8 in both, actually. But Clemson lost. They lost at home. It is now the 4th straight time they have lost to an SEC opponent dating back to last year. They've lost those games by an average of 15.5 points per game. And in those games, they're only averaging 12.8 points per game. Granted, they came down to the wire, all that kind of stuff, but it never should have. Like, that game wasn't close. That game should have been 27-10. Like, the touchdown with Brown was insane to me. The Brian Kelly not going for a field goal, fine. If you want to take that one off, whatever. But it should have been 24-10 at the least. At the least. I mean, that LSU defense went in there and held them, I think, to 19 carries for like 32 yards. It was like 1.7 yards per carry. Cade Klubnik was okay, but he was only 50% completion. Obviously had an interception, had a couple other ones that were close to being picked off. Like, I mean, LSU went in there, and that game never felt like it was that close, despite what the scoreboard said. I don't know if that will ever be talked about enough for them to drop behind Carolina. My gut feeling is no, it won't. It won't. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? Because these two teams are going to play on the field. And from what I saw today versus what I saw from Clemson yesterday, and I was very high on Clemson going into the season. But, like, I wonder if people's own biases will get out of their way. Or they'll be left to the side where they objectively try to rank these teams, because I think if you're talking about what happened on the field, and we're not rewarding losses, because that wasn't the case for South Carolina last year, but if you're talking about what happened on the field, there's just no way to look at that Clemson performance and this South Carolina performance and say that they deserve to be higher than the other. Alabama's out. Notre Dame plays Miami tonight. One of them has to lose. I'm assuming it'll probably be Miami, maybe. But either way, one of those teams is probably going to drop behind you. My gut is that they're going to be at 11. My gut is that they'll be at 11. And that's fine. It's a long season. Hate to say it, FSU looked like a complete team against Bama. They did, man. They did. Yeah, they definitely did. 0-1 of the top 10 is crazy. I don't disagree with that. I'm just telling you. Listen, here's the other thing, too. I brought the Miami-Notre Dame game. You know damn well, just as much as I do, if Notre Dame loses to Miami, there's no way they're dropping them out of the top 10. Notre Dame? No, of course not. So I don't know if the 24-11 screams enough of a dominant win for voters that didn't watch the game. I don't know how they wouldn't have watched the game because it was the only one on. But yeah, it was a good win. Stuff to keep working on. And I brought this up, and we'll close on this. The beauty of this game and the beauty of what this game specifically against Va Tech was going to bring is you knew that it was not going to most likely just be a blowout, right? You knew it wasn't going to be something they're going to show up, run them out of the building, everyone goes to the varsity afterwards and has a great time and indigestion, all the above. It's a staple of Atlanta. But you also knew the fact that going into this, there were so many things that you had to work on, like the boxes that you were like, okay, like how's the D-line going to look? I thought they looked pretty good. All right, how's the linebackers going to look? They thought they looked really, really good. Offensive line, lots of work on there. Sellers, a couple moments he needs to work on, right? Like, there are several things that you get in what I call a perfect win. And what I mean by that is this. South Carolina is 1-0. Clemson is 0-1. South Carolina is 1-0, most importantly. And now you have stuff where you're not going to be pat on the back all week. You're not going to have people saying LaNorris Sellers is the Heisman front runner. You're not going to have people going out here saying that they deserve to be the number one team in the country. Like, you have stuff to work on and keep getting better. And this team knows just to keep putting its head down and keep going to work. And I love that. So there you go. That is all for today's episode. I appreciate you guys so much. This is a great time. We'll do it again every week. Do you guys have anything you want me to look up specifically and talk about during the shows this week? I'm open ears. Appreciate everyone's involvement in the show. And like I said, we'll be back Monday. Let me just close with this. And I know that you guys have like a lot going on. And the game was great, and so everyone's on high. I just want to give a quick shout out to all of you, and I genuinely mean this, because we're closing out the month of August, obviously with a win and 1-0. This is the biggest month we have ever had on the channel. The most shows I've ever done. We set an all-time record for audio downloads by roughly 23% higher than we've ever done before. We are going to have we already have over 100,000 views on YouTube this month. Like, it has truly been awesome. And I cannot say thank you to you guys enough. I really appreciate you guys. And that's it. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday night. It's going to be hard not to. We'll be back tomorrow. Stay safe tomorrow since it's a holiday. And I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next time. Until then, go Cox.